My name's Joanne Caffrey and welcome to Police Custody Basics. 3 issues that I want to cover quickly in this presentation, and I will attach the relevant documents to this channel as well. But the first thing is about fast track triage in A&E for when police officers are there with detained people. Secondly, in relation to people detained under section 136 of the Mental Health Act, who are then with officers waiting for the handover to the hospital staff. You know, how often are we hearing cops saying they're spending the whole night, 10, 12 hours in hospital with a person just waiting to hand them over. And the third issue is when a detainee is taken back to custody from hospital and what should be happening. So these are what I think are the top 3 issues where things are not going to plan in relation to what should occur, and as a result it's impacting the custody and the legitimacy of the processes within police custody, but also creating conflict with the person at hospital, which can then lead on to use of force, which then I get involved with because of the use of force when the officers didn't need to still be at hospital. So here's the issue with these top 3. First off then, since at least 2016 and published within the Royal College Emergency Medicine Guidance of 2016, it is okay for hospitals throughout England to take a detainee and put them to the top of their triage group. So it's not about classifying them higher than somebody else who's there with a more urgent condition, but whatever triage group your detainee is afforded, then your detainee is allowed to go to the top of that group. So you don't then have to theoretically be sat there waiting for 4, 5, 6 hours until you can see the doctor, because you can queue jump in relation to your triage group. Second issue then is how many times officers are waiting at the A&E to hand over a person who's been detained under 136 of the Mental Health Act, and they just need to be handing them over. So there is national guidance again, and this is published as well by the College of Policing in the Authorised Professional Practice, that it's anticipated that 1 hour, just 1 hour, is sufficient time for the arrival of the police to then hand over the person to the hospital staff and for the officers to leave. Now again, you're probably thinking, well, that never happens. But what should be happening with either of these 2 issues, if your hospital in your area is not working with these practices, do the staff on the front line actually know this guidance? Because most of the police officers that I'm coming across don't know it neither. So the senior officer on duty, which maybe in the first instance might be the patrol sergeant or the duty inspector, the sergeant or the inspector should be speaking in the first instance to the senior nursing staff member who's on and bringing this to their attention. Also then, you need to be looking at the local police senior management team in relation to joint protocols that you have with your local NHS services, because again, it might be that these are issues which, although they're in the national guidance, when agreements have been brought, the people on your senior management team aren't aware of them neither. Now the third one, which is quite a crucial one and gets involved in a few of my issues, is when a police officer has a person, a detainee at hospital, and the doctor then will say, oh well, they're fit to go. Because there's two medical roles. One is the clinical function and one is the general forensic function. And I've got separate videos looking at what the difference between these 2 are. The doctor or the hospital staff, they cannot authorise a detainee as fit to detain, because that is a general forensic function. Only the HCP can do this, and it's part of a 2021 agreement between ACPO, the Department for Health, the College of Emergency Medicine and the NHS Ambulance Chief Executive Group, that when a person is released either from hospital or they've been tended to by an ambulance crew, and that could even be at the roadside or at custody, that as soon as reasonably practicable upon arrival at the police station, it's over to the HCP, so the healthcare professional, to then assess that detainee as fit to detain. You cannot just assume because the paramedics or the hospital staff have said that they're fit, that means they're fit to detain, because they're not. So recapping the top 3 issues which I'm seeing quite often: remember, fast track triage is available at A&E if police officers are there with a detainee. It is permissible for the hospital staff to put your detainee to the top of that triage category that they're in. Secondly, in relation to section 136 detainees, then the national accepted time is just 1 hour. So from the police arriving at the hospital for the handover, 1 hour is the time that's expected for the handover to be completed. And if it's gone over this 1 hour, then again it needs to be raised with either the patrol inspector or the custody or the sergeant. And if you take a detainee back from hospital to police custody, then you must get the HCP to assess the person for fit to detain before you proceed to look at any evidence gathering procedure in police custody. The documents are all attached to this YouTube bottom. If you've got any questions about police custody, my name is Joanne Caffrey. This is Police Custody Basics. Thank you.